My wife cheated on me with my best friend, but karma hit them both hard. My name is Ethan Cole, I'm 29, and until a few months ago, I thought I had the kind of marriage people envied. We lived in Austin, Texas, in a cozy little 2-bedroom house with a backyard big enough for Sunday barbecues and morning coffee under the oak tree. My wife, Lena, was 27, smart, beautiful, with a laugh that used to melt every ounce of anger or frustration in me. We'd been together for 5 years, married for 3. I met her in college, back when everything still felt infinite, possibilities, time, dreams. She was majoring in psychology, I was studying business. I still remember the first time I saw her, sitting on the grass with a book in her lap, sunlight tangled in her hair. People say love fades after marriage, but I thought we were different. I worked as a financial consultant, long hours, yes, but it was all for us. I wanted to build something, to give her everything she deserved. And then came Jack. Jack and I had been best friends since high school. He was the kind of guy everyone liked instantly, charming, confident, with that easy grin that made people drop their guard. We played football together, got into stupid fights, got drunk at graduation, and swore we'd be in each other's weddings someday. And we were. He stood beside me when I married Lena, smiling like he meant it. At first, Lena and Jack got along the way any two people would when connected through someone they both love. He'd come over to watch the game, we'd all cook together, joke around. I liked seeing them get along. It made me feel like my two worlds had blended perfectly, my best friend and my wife. But over time, something changed. It's hard to pinpoint when exactly, but the air started to feel different whenever Jack was around. The laughter between them got softer. The looks lingered longer. I told myself I was imagining it. I trusted them both. Still, I started noticing little things. When I'd come home late from work, Lena would be on her phone, smiling. If I asked who she was texting, she'd say, "Just Jack, he's asking about that grill recipe." Or she'd casually mention that Jack stopped by to drop something off. At first, I brushed it off. Jack had always been like a brother to me, but the frequency of those small moments started to feel off. One Friday night, I came home earlier than usual. Lena didn't hear me come in. She was in the kitchen, laughing, talking softly on the phone. Her voice had that warmth she used to save just for me. I leaned against the wall, listening for a few seconds before she noticed me and nearly jumped. "Oh, hey, babe," she said, fumbling to end the call. It was just Jack. He's planning a surprise for his girlfriend's birthday. I smiled, pretending to believe it, but something inside me shifted that night. The next few weeks were filled with tiny, sharp moments that didn't add up. Jack mentioning something I told only Lena. Lena using phrases Jack used all the time. Her suddenly dressing nicer when I told her Jack might stop by. The connection between them wasn't physical yet, at least, not that I could see, but it was emotional, and that's what cut deepest. One Saturday, we all went out for drinks with friends. I remember sitting at the bar, watching Lena and Jack talk. Their faces were close, their smiles private. They didn't notice me looking, or maybe they did and didn't care. That night, when we got home, I asked her, "Do you like Jack?" She froze. What kind of question is that? I mean, like him. More than a friend. She laughed, but it sounded wrong. "Ethan, that's ridiculous." I dropped it, but I didn't sleep that night, because her laugh had trembled. Days turned into weeks, and the doubt started eating me alive. I began checking her phone when she was in the shower, something I swore I'd never do. Most of the messages were innocent, but there was a rhythm to them, a warmth that shouldn't have been there. Inside jokes, compliments, nothing explicit, but too much. Then, one morning, I saw a message from Jack that changed everything. "Can't stop thinking about last night." I remember my hands shaking so badly I could barely scroll. The messages above had been deleted, but that one had slipped through, like fate itself wanted me to see it. When Lena came out of the bathroom, towel around her hair, I confronted her. "What happened last night?" Her face went pale. "What are you talking about?" I showed her the message. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Finally, she whispered, "It's not what you think." But I'd heard that line in 100 movies, and it's never not what you think. I felt the air leave my lungs. The woman I loved, my best friend, together? I couldn't even process it. I left the house without a word. Drove aimlessly for hours. I ended up in the parking lot of an old diner we used to go to in college. Sat there until the sun came up, staring at nothing. When I came home, Lena was on the couch, eyes red from crying. She said it had only happened once. That she was drunk. That it was a mistake. But her story kept changing. Once became twice. Twice became a few times. And every time she talked, I saw Jack's face, his grin, his hand on my shoulder at my wedding, his promise that he'd always have my back. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hit something. Instead, I just stood there, numb, watching the life I'd built crumble into dust. That night, I packed a bag and left. I stayed with my cousin for a few days, trying to figure out what to do. I didn't answer Jack's calls. He left voicemail after voicemail, saying, "It's not what it looks like, man." But what else could it be? That was the beginning of the end, and I had no idea that what came next, the lies, the confrontation, the revenge, would change everything about who I was. The morning after I left, I sat in my cousin's apartment, staring at the wall like a man who had lost gravity. My phone buzzed constantly. Lena, Jack, mutual friends, even my mom asking if everything was okay. I ignored them all. I didn't know what hurt more, her betrayal or his. They were both my family in different ways, and now it felt like the two people I trusted most had taken turns stabbing me in the same spot. After 2 days of silence, I called Lena. "I'll come by tomorrow to pick up some things," I said. She just whispered, "Okay," and hung up. When I walked back into the house, everything felt smaller, colder. The scent of her vanilla candles made me sick. She was in the kitchen, wearing one of my shirts, eyes swollen. Ethan, she started, stepping forward. Don't, I said, just, don't. I gathered my clothes in silence. Then she said something that broke me a second time. I didn't mean to fall for him. Fall for him. Not sleep with him. Fall for him. Those words kept echoing in my head as I closed the door behind me. For a while, I lived like a ghost. I went to work, came home, slept on a couch, ate whatever was in reach. People at the office stopped asking how I was. I'd mastered the art of saying, fine, with dead eyes. But part of me couldn't rest. I needed to know the truth, the full truth. Not just what Lena told me to ease her guilt. So I started digging. First, I logged into our shared cloud account. Lena never changed the password. Most photos were the usual. Vacations, dinners, birthdays. But then I found a hidden folder under a random date name. April_17. Inside were selfies of her and Jack. Nothing explicit, but too close. Smiles too intimate, touches too comfortable. One photo hit me like a freight train. Jack sitting on my couch, Lena beside him, her head on his shoulder, his hand resting on her thigh. My hands trembled as I clicked download. Then I checked her email, and that's when I found it. A hotel booking under her name. The date? The night before that message. Can't stop thinking about last night. Room for two. Paid in cash. That was it. No more doubt, no more excuses. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a full-blown affair. I remember driving to Jack's place that night. It was past 10 p.m., raining hard, the kind of rain that feels like the sky is screaming with you. I didn't even know what I was going to do. Talk. Yell? Punch him? He opened the door wearing a hoodie, like he'd been expecting me. Ethan, man, listen. I didn't let him finish. My fist connected with his jaw before I even realized I'd swung. He stumbled back, clutching his face. You slept with my wife, I said through gritted teeth. You looked me in the eye, you stood next to me at my wedding, and then you. Stop, just stop, he yelled. It wasn't supposed to happen, okay? She came to me. Don't you dare put this on her, I snapped. You were my brother. He didn't answer. His silence said everything. For a moment, we just stood there, soaked in rain and shame. Finally, I said, I hope she was worth destroying everything for, and walked away. I didn't go home that night. I didn't sleep. I just drove until sunrise, until the anger turned into a dull, hollow ache. Over the next few weeks, divorce papers were filed. Lena didn't fight it. She didn't even show up to the hearing. It was like she'd already disappeared long before I left. People talk about heartbreak like it's one big explosion, but it's not. It's a slow burn. Every morning you wake up, and there's a second before you remember why everything hurts. That second is mercy. Then reality floods back in, and it's hell all over again. I tried to rebuild. Therapy, gym, work. I even deleted social media to avoid seeing their faces. But of course, life isn't that kind. One night, about 3 months later, a friend texted me. You might want to see this. It was a picture. Lena and Jack, hand in hand at some music festival. He had his arm around her, smiling like he'd never done anything wrong. I laughed. A dry, bitter laugh that scared even me. That night, I made a promise. I won't chase revenge. But if truth ever comes for them, I'll let it. 6 months passed. I'd moved to a new apartment across town. Bought new furniture, repainted the walls, even started seeing someone casually. A girl named Mara, who was kind and honest in ways I hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long while, I started to breathe again. Until one evening, out of nowhere, I got an email. No subject, no sender name. Just a simple message. You don't know me, but you deserve to see this. Attached were screenshots, messages between Jack and another woman. Explicit ones. And the dates? They overlapped perfectly with when he and Lena had started dating. I stared at the screen, heartbeat thundering. He was cheating on her, too. The irony hit me so hard I almost felt dizzy. I didn't plan to send anything, but after half an hour of pacing, I forwarded the screenshots to Lena. No message, no comment, just silence. An hour later, she called. I didn't pick up. Then came the texts. Ethan, please, can we talk? You were right, about everything. He was seeing her for months. I feel so stupid. I read every word, but didn't reply. For the first time since everything fell apart, I felt peace. Not happiness, just peace. A week later, I got a letter. Handwritten, from Lena. She apologized, said she'd ruined the best thing she ever had, that she thought what she had with Jack was love but realized it was just excitement. She asked if we could ever be friends again. I folded the letter and burned it in the sink. Because forgiveness isn't about giving someone another chance, it's about giving yourself one. Jack? I never saw him again. Last I heard, he moved to another state after his new girlfriend exposed him online. Karma doesn't miss, it just waits. And me? I stayed in Austin. I kept going to therapy. Mara and I took things slow, and for once, it felt right. No secrets, no shadows, just honesty. Sometimes I still drive past that old house. The oak tree still stands tall. The laughter that used to fill that space is gone, replaced by silence. But it's my silence now, my peace. They say betrayal changes you. They're right, but it also teaches you the most brutal kind of truth. You can survive the people you thought you couldn't live without. It's been a year, 12 months since the night I found that message, since I watched everything I knew collapse like a building made of paper. People ask if time heals everything. It doesn't. It just teaches you how to live with the scar. When I look back now, it almost feels like a different life. A movie I watched too many times, where I already know every painful scene by heart. But the difference is, I survived it. I still remember the version of me that existed before all of this, naive, trusting, blind to the small cracks in people. That version of me is gone. But in his place stands someone stronger, quieter, and more aware of what love really means. These days, mornings are simple. I wake up early, make coffee, go for a run along the lake. The air feels cleaner now, the kind that doesn't carry the weight of betrayal or regret. Mara still sleeps while I run. She moved in a few months ago. It wasn't planned, it just happened naturally, the way real love should. No games, no secrets, no guilt. Sometimes, when I look at her, I catch myself flinching, a reflex, a leftover scar from the past. But she never takes it personally. She just reaches for my hand and says, "You're safe now." And for the first time in years, I actually believe it. Last week, I ran into someone I hadn't seen since everything fell apart, Ben, one of our mutual friends from back then. He hesitated before saying, "Hey man, you look good. I heard about, everything." I just smiled. "Yeah, it's been a while." He told me Lena moved out of state. Apparently, she works at a small counseling office now. Jack? No one knows exactly. Rumor has it he's been drifting from job to job, burning bridges like he always does. I didn't feel satisfaction or revenge. Just closure. It's strange how, after enough pain, even indifference can feel like peace. One night not long ago, I found an old box while cleaning, photos, anniversary cards, a few keepsakes from that part of my life. For a second, I almost threw it away, but then I sat down and went through it. I didn't cry, I didn't break, I just remembered. The good parts, the laughter, the moments before everything went wrong. Because pretending those years didn't exist would mean pretending I didn't exist. And that man, the one who loved honestly, who gave everything, he deserves to be remembered, even if others didn't deserve him. So I kept one photo, just one, of me and Lena on our wedding day. Not because I miss her, but because it reminds me of who I was before the storm, and how far I've come since. Sometimes, late at night, I think about what I'd say if I ever saw her again. Maybe I'd tell her that I forgive her, not for her sake, but for mine. Because forgiveness isn't about letting someone back in. It's about finally letting yourself go free. And maybe, in another universe, we would have turned out differently. But in this one, this version of life, her betrayal became my beginning. People love to say everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that. But I do believe in choices, and in what pain can make of you. Pain can destroy, or it can rebuild. It can turn you bitter, or it can make you kinder, not softer, but stronger, wiser. And maybe that's the point of all of this. Because now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see the man who was betrayed. I see the man who survived. And every morning, as the sun rises over the lake, I whisper the same thing to myself before starting the day. You didn't lose them. You lost the version of you who needed them. And that, I've learned, is the best kind of freedom there is.